Rob, we got to go to the news of the evening, and that is that Bruce Arians has stepped down as coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really surprising considering that Tom Brady, just decided a few weeks ago that he was coming back to the team to play. And so Todd Bowles gets the job, Rob, and he becomes the fourth African-American head coach, if you count Mike McDaniels in Miami. And that joins Lovie Smith, Mike Tomlin, and Todd Bowles, along with McDaniels. Other coaches of color, Robert Saleh and Ron Rivera. Arians gave a very interesting quote, Rob, to Peter King, Rob G. This to Peter King about his decision and how they came about to name Todd Bowles as his successor. And here's what Arians said, Rob. He said that succession has always been huge for me. This is a direct quote. With the organization in probably the best shape it's been in its history, with Tom Brady coming back, I'd rather see Todd Bowles in position to be successful and not have to take a crappy job. I'm probably retiring next year anyway in February, so I control the narrative right now. I don't control it next February because if Brady gets hurt, we go 10-7, and it's an open interview for the job. He's like, I got 31 coaches and their families that depend on me. My wife is big on not letting all those families down. So I love that quote, Rob. Like, he's right. He had control. I guess he could control who his successor was going to be. And whereas if he just, quit in February or whatever, then obviously the organization just moves on and they do what they want. So I actually like that from Arians to get Bowles in there. Remember, he coached the Jets, so he's getting a second shot, which not a lot of African-American coaches get. So I think this was a very good move by Arians.
Yeah, I don't like it. I think that he's trying to get a lot more credit than he probably deserves because, Chris, he doesn't have – if the organization and ownership didn't want Todd Bowles, no matter what he said when he decided to quit, they could go out and get their own coach. And so I'm not like he's, I put Todd Bowles here. I'm looking out for everybody. I just did that. I kind of don't like that narrative and that sound because he doesn't own the team. Right. And they still don't have to hire Todd Bowles, even if he goes in there and says, I'm retiring, I want Todd Bowles to take over. He doesn't have final say. So it sounds nice, like he did Todd Bowles a solid. Todd Bowles has already been hired in the NFL with the Jets, so he has a little bit of a track record, not a great one, but still he had been a coach and elevated at one point in his career. It just kind of sounds a little self-absorbed that he's, look at what I've done. Look at what I just did a solid for Todd Bowles by quitting now. And I don't know how much power he has to dictate to ownership who the coach is. And number two, I just wonder about Rich Ohrnberger on this very radio station, on this radio network, said that there were issues between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. I just wonder if there's anything to that, like maybe they did have some sort of problems going on and he doesn't want to deal with it. I'm just curious as to why he would retire here and now but stick around and not want to coach. So there's a lot of stuff there. It sounds great on surface, what a great guy he is, and look at what he did for Todd Bowles. I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, the Ohrnberger, that's interesting. Obviously they had issues even when, Brady was there in the first place. People made – I don't think they had huge issues. I think, Arians is blunt, and he said what he said in the press, and people felt like that would bother Brady and made something out of it that it didn't seem was there. But, yeah, they may have. I mean, after that, I don't know. But I think you make a good point. And I think what you said is very possible. I don't know what the truth is. Is it that – because, he's a consultant. So it sounds like he would have some say that they would respect. But you are right that it's not like it's a week before the season. And you could, they can't go out and get somebody. So that's a good point. I'll give you that.
This like
I don't know if it's true or not, but that is
the season
plausible.
Starts.
Right. It's very plausible that may have happened. What do you think the impact will be on the Buccaneers with this?
I mean, if you stay in the course and you still got Leftwich, right, and Todd Bowles ran the defense, you would assume that it would kind of stay the course, right? And that's probably why ownership signed off on it, like to not upset the apple cart. But that doesn't mean that, I don't know, did they sign Todd Bowles to a 4-year contract today? I don't, you know what I mean? Or is he just on this year, Chris, to take over, and then they'll see? So I would need to see. If Todd Bowles got a new 4-year contract, then I'm speaking – I'll give Tampa Bay credit, but I don't believe he got
He
that.
did not. Do we know anything about his contract, Rob G?
Rob G, have you seen
There
anything?
has been no extension. It's just the way that it reads, exactly how you said it, Rob. He's taking over for this season and going forward, but there's nothing in writing that
saying
says
this season and going forward.
Do you see what I'm saying? That's why I'm skeptical of the whole thing, and I'm just wondering. I don't know.
Right.
Rich is the one who put that out there. I know they pushed back on it. Bruce Arians did that. Maybe it was, don't buy into that stuff. But Rich Ornberger is played in the league, knows a lot of people in the league. I respect his insight. That
did
maybe
he say
talked to
specific?
somebody.
Bowles has 2 more years, but I would assume he's got to be getting a raise.
Oh yeah,
because if he's not getting a raise, that's just downright disrespectful.
No, you got to. If you're the head coach,
they got to rework that
contract.
Right. They got to rework that contract. So maybe not the length, but certainly the money has to change. But, yeah, did Ornberger say specifically, or he just kind of said there were issues?
Let me see. It says, okay, here's a quote I'm reading from. This is the Tom Brady, Bruce Arians honeymoon was over in Tampa Bay. The relationship was sour, said Ornberger. He tweeted, adding that Brady and the Bucs offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich felt undermined this season when Arians would make edits to their offensive game plan. Brady Brady
felt undermined.
Yeah, him and Leftwich. That's the quote right there.
Oh, okay.
That he tweeted. So that was just part of it. That Brady didn't like the offense or that it was being altered by Arians and him and Leftwich didn't like it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Here's something from Sam Farmer of the LA Times. Tom Brady's decision to unretire helped cement the decision for Arians because the coach wanted to hand over a Super Bowl caliber team to Todd Bowles. Okay, so that's what Sam Farmer tweeted. So that's along the same lines as the narrative that, Arians put out there on that quote. So, we don't know. Is that true? Maybe. But what you said is plausible, Rob. That's very plausible because they do have time to go out and get another head coach if they wanted to. But I think I would assume that the Buccaneers will still be in good shape. I do think Arians is a good coach. But I think, look, Bowles has been a head coach, so he knows the dynamic that's there. And I like that they gave it to Bowles instead of Leftwich just because Leftwich, can focus on the offense still solely. And I think that's going to be huge for them, obviously. And so, we'll see what they do with defensive coordinator. But I think that's a good move there. And I would expect that they're still going to be as good as they would be if Bruce Arians was there, Rob. We'll see, but they're certainly, they're still in good shape. And it is a nice gesture from Arians, if true. But I guess we'll have to wait and see if hopefully that story comes out, whether or not it is.
Yeah, it's so fluid, and why do it now? If you still felt like you could coach, and you got the organization. And you can convince them to let Todd Bowles take over now. Why can't he take over next year? Do you know what I mean? Like after this year, what would be the difference? I don't understand if they're on board with Todd Bowles. Why would they not be on board after they won the Super Bowl next year? Why would they not want to keep it together?
If they win the Super Bowl.
No, I'm just saying, or play well or whatever it is.
Right.
It just seems a little weird to me. That's all. The inner workings of hiring people and pushing people along and those things. I'm not saying that Bruce didn't have any, but ownership has a big say on who's going to be the coach. And I don't know how much Bruce Arians can go in and demand that Todd Bowles gets the job. I'm happy he gets another opportunity. So I'm not against the opportunity. I'm just saying I'm not so sure of how much credit he should get.
Well, for Bowles, those out there wondering, he coached the New York Jets for 4 years. First year there, Rob, they were 10-6. Now, he coached briefly in Miami, 3 games. They were 2-1. But he coached the Jets, and they were 10-6. The previous year, they were 4-12. So he with Rex Ryan. So in 2015, Bowles took over, led them to a 10-6 record, didn't make the playoffs that year, and then it went south from there. 5-11, 5-11, 4-12. And Bowles obviously was fired. So he's certainly not the first coach to fail with the Jets.
The list is too long, even for the internet.
Right. But I'm glad he's getting a second shot. He's got a good team. So, we'll see how it goes. But it's going to be interesting. That adds another wrinkle to this interesting offseason and interesting situation for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.